Welcome everyone. We will continue what we started in the previous episodes, and we will address atheists, and those who are contemplating it, and those who don't know what they believe in, and those who doubt but are certain, and those who are certain but doubt, and all of us. When you speak with people who have an issue with the idea of a creator, God, and are unable to form a concept they can believe in, understand, follow, and worship, I think this dilemma stems from the fact that they have an issue with religion. Religion in its general form, regardless of the type of religion you found your parents and grandparents following, all religions ultimately flow into the same river. There are some who say, "Do you believe in those stories mentioned in religions, including the story of creation, the devil, and so on? They are nonsense." There is something you must pay attention to. We are now in this time. We are now standing on this earth after more than 20,000 years of civilization. We are an evolving being. We are a changing being, and this evolution over time happens faster than before. The evolution that occurred in the last 10 years might equal 100 years of evolution that happened in past years. Technology has developed us greatly and affected us. The internet has developed us greatly and affected us. Smartphones and the communication boom and artificial intelligence have affected us and developed us rapidly. And as I mentioned earlier, I was not like that when I was young compared to today's youth. I was not a child like the children of today. Regardless of whether this evolution is positive or negative, it is not my topic in this episode, but it is a fact. However, big things have changed in humans. But do not be deceived by the fact that we now have Google and think that we have become knowledgeable. Do not be deceived by the fact that we have become a product of civilization, that we speak in a certain way, live in cities in a certain way, and our world has become governed in a certain way, and think that everything humanity has believed in throughout its long history is merely nonsense, and that today we have entered the era of artificial intelligence. It is a naive idea. Really, it is a naive idea and not a new one, existing for tens and tens of years. The idea of the purely material world, and that what I can prove with science alone is what I believe in, that everything I see is what can be believed. Beware of the sin of arrogance, believing in your mind, believing in yourself. Do not take your mind too seriously. Do not assume that what you believe is the truth. Do not think that only what you believe is real, and what you do not believe is not real. Pay attention to this matter. And the most important thing is, if you have a problem because of the circumstances, mental, psychological, social, historical, that you are in this moment where you stand, you are not able at all. Most people experience the opposite. Most people believe in God, and so they believe in everything that comes from God. For example, a Muslim person, I don't mean just a Muslim by name, truly believes in God, then he believes in God's religion, then he believes in God's book. So everything that came in the book becomes true. He builds his system in that way, placing a constant, then another constant, then another, and so on. For some reason, you have an issue with the entire intellectual system. Everything that is religious, everything that is at the core of religion, with historical stories, with the story of creation, with the story of our master Adam, peace be upon him, with what has come to us from the story of religion itself. And please note, as we discuss this topic, that all religions at this moment in history have undergone a considerable amount of distortion, philosophical, intellectual, mental, and existential over time. Don't forget this, meaning that the religion you believe in might not be the true religion, or to be more precise, its ideas might have been superficial. And yet, even if you have something in your heart that makes it difficult for you to accept the concept of religion in its broadest, most comprehensive, and largest sense, you may have a problem, but separate religion from the topic of the Creator. Recall the concept of God, the Creator of the universe, the establisher of the system, who does everything and makes all beings evolve and change. And in the end, everything ultimately returns to God. And it does not mean that because religions flow into the river of God, if you have a problem with religion, you should also have a problem with the river. Pause first before you solve your problem with religion. Separate it from your problem with the idea of the existence of God, and find a solution to your problem with the idea of the existence of God. We have agreed, and I expect that everyone will agree with me on this point, that the idea of the existence of God is the most important subject in life. I have a God who created me and created the system I live in, and whether I will go to him after death or not. There is nothing more important in life to think about than this matter, so decide on this issue first, and when you think about it, to decide. Do not think about religions at all. Do not think about religions, nor religious books, nor the story of creation, nor Darwin's story, of course, and do not think about anything else. Sit with yourself, take your time, and think deeply. Decide on this matter. You must finish it definitively first before you think about anything else. The second point, many people who have a problem with the idea of the existence of God have an issue called the problem of evil. What is the problem of evil? It is a simple problem that comes to some people, especially the romantic ones. So some of them say, for example, how can there be a God and he leaves all this evil that we live in? How does he allow all this injustice on earth? How does he allow some of his faithful servants to be slaughtered here or there? How does he leave all this evil around us? He surely doesn't exist. It is a big dilemma, and it faces a lot of people, especially those who go through a series of unbearable calamities. For example, someone who loves another person deeply and is strongly attached to them, and then they die a horrible death in a bad situation, so he becomes angry with God. The God he believed was merciful and kind and protected him from all evil is now someone he has a problem with, to the point that he ends up denying God's existence. It is logical for this to happen to some people because not everyone has the same level of resilience and strength in enduring calamities. Do not infringe on someone's right to have a problem. Never look down on someone for having a problem that you do not have. I have something I want to say regarding the problem of evil, and of course, it is not a new topic, as all philosophers, religious scholars, and hundreds of thousands of people have spoken about it. But I am a human living on this planet, and no one will suffer if I gossip a bit more about what everyone has already discussed. The life is very limited in existence. The limitation of life in existence is like the limitation of Earth in the universe. Just look into this matter. Open Google, type "how small is Earth," and watch any video that explains how insignificant Earth is, including the entire solar system and the galaxy. All of it is invisible in the universe. I completely agree with you. If you do not believe in the idea of the existence of God, and you do not believe that you will go to Him after death, what I say does not concern you at all. But even if it does not concern you, try to consider it. Just try to contemplate it. Consider that we know that the universe in your mind is no more than the universe in your mind. But the real universe is much larger than the universe you imagine in your mind. We can only perceive a part of the reality of something that we cannot actually grasp its size. The topic of existence itself and the topic of God is not easy to understand. Indeed, God is a very complex subject. Life is not just about what happens in life. In nature, we all love nature. It is a magnificent thing. You sit on the beach or in the forest, pick an apple, eat it, and enjoy it. It is nature. Mother Nature. We come from it and are in it. We are nature. Of course, before these concrete jungles and cities, humans were much closer to that idea. In nature, this famous dramatic scene, which we often see when watching nature documentaries, is the gazelle drinking from the stream, the sun shining with its golden rays, butterflies flying around, and the gentle breeze. It stands, seeing its reflection on the surface of the water. It's a beautiful scene. The believer looks and says, "Glory be to God, how beautiful this scene is." And in the midst of this beautiful scene, the crocodile appears, grabs it by the head, and pulls it into the water. Blood scatters, and the water turns red. Then it eats it and is satisfied. So what do you think? What happened now? Is this evil? Is the crocodile evil, and the antelope is not? In reality, no. Both the crocodile and the antelope are not evil. Evil is a concept that exists only for us. We are the ones who perceive evil. We see what is bad from our perspective as evil. We consider pain to be bad. We categorize it this way. If you learn that, for example, pain purifies your soul, there are some groups in certain religions who beat themselves and consider it purifies the body from sin. They view this as worship to inflict pain on oneself and torture oneself until bleeding. This is something they believe in internally. It is an unnatural concept for other people. Why do you do this to yourself? The response might be, I do this to purify myself from sins or as an act of worship. You are the one who creates your idea of good and evil. If someone gets a disease that makes them a better person, should we consider this good or evil? In reality, if the disease makes you a better person, it is certainly good. However, you look at things from the outside and call them evil, even though in nature you cannot do this, because in nature you know that this entire scene is nature, and nature is beautiful with all its harshness. The amount of death that occurs between animals and each other is also tremendous, as well as among birds, insects, reptiles, and fish, and also among humans, because humans are part of nature and we move instinctively just like other living beings. This is the beautiful cosmic system. So, after overcoming your view of the crocodile as evil and delving a little deeper into that idea, you discover that the crocodile is not evil, but the crocodile, the gazelle, the stream, the reflection, and the butterflies are all originally one thing, and you are also one with them. So what about evil humans, like those who invaded peoples and burned nations or caused wars, displaced humans, and violated lands, slaughtering their children? What about all this? It is also part of life, within the system that governs the universe. Just as there are gazelles and crocodiles or lions that prey on them, there are also good people who uplift your heart when you see them, and likewise there are evil people. The existence of evil people does not mean that there is evil itself. Rather, it is the nature of life. Do you remember the relationship we discussed in a previous episode about how creation came into being? How does creation happen? It has no relation to whether there is a creator or not, because you do not know how the creator created. When I present you with a theory about how creation happened, it is not related to the creator. Similarly here, the presence of evil people and evil things does not mean that they are inherently evil, but rather that you perceive them as evil. The terrifying disease of cancer, which has a probability rate of 1 in 3, meaning that out of every 3 people on the planet, 1 will get cancer. Is it evil or not? Certainly, it is considered evil in earthly terms. It is very evil. It is a harsh disease that causes immense pain, leads to death, and results in leaving behind my family, my children, and all my friends. So, is the disease evil? In truth, the disease is not inherently evil. It is like the crocodile in our scene. It is part of life, part of the design, the system created by God for the universe to function. It is the system that our Lord created for life to operate. And if you are unwilling to acknowledge the existence of God, then let's say the system in place for life involves both. When you consider this system, you should not assume that God will act in a specific way, and if He does not act in the way you desire, you become angry. I am angry with you, God, because you do not intervene in moments of injustice. I am angry with you, God, because I asked you to heal my sick father, and yet he still died. Do not impose conditions on your Creator. Reflect on this word and consider how many of us fall into this mistake. You impose conditions on your Lord. You impose conditions on the one who created you, saying, "If you do not act in this way, I will not believe in you. Everything in this life is much deeper than it appears, including all your thoughts. And the most important of your thoughts is your idea of God and your concept of Him, and your condition that God should act in a way that pleases you. Please drink your coffee and sit quietly away from all the screens around you and think carefully about this topic. Did you ever set conditions on God to be in a way that you want or not? I will see you in the next episode, God willing, and I wish you all the best. We're glad you made it this far. If our video ignited something within you, we're honored. Join our Javan Rusa community to explore more and be part of our journey.